Hey guys, welcome to It's a Vet Tech's Life. I'm Megan, and I'm your co-host along with
Shena with Not Another Vet Nurse.
And we are here to bring you vet information and client information for your pet, and also for all of the people in the wonderful veterinary medicine community. We are here to be your support system, and we want nothing more than to be able to reach out and help you guys. So, if you're ready, let's get started on another episode.
Let's do it.
Hey guys, this is Megan, one of your hosts from It's a Vet Tech's Life. I wanted to take a quick second and tell you all about Anchor. It's the easiest way to make a podcast. And trust me, I've tried several others, so believe me when I say it is the easiest. It's completely free. There's also creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer, so it's great for busy people on the go like me. Anchor also distributes your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. So I know in our last episode, we talked a lot about the more serious aspects of what goes on in the world of veterinary medicine. But this time, I really want to show like the fun side of what we do and, the reason why we do what we do, the things that keep us going.
Absolutely. I agree.
I mean, like everything else, there is a lot of hard times. There's a lot of moments that aren't pleasant, but there's always way more that make up for it.
Yes, there is. Like lots of puppies and kittens.
Yes.
Or anything fluffy.
Yes. Had a bunny patient, guinea pig.
Oh, I love bunnies.
What's your favorite memory of being in the field so far?
Favorite memory. So it took me a minute to think about this question. Speaking of puppies, I just remember, I remember the C-section we did on Australian. It was an Australian Shepherd, and she had to have a C-section for whatever reason. I don't remember. And then, they were born, we resuscitated them, and they were fine. And then I think they came in for, their 6-week shots or something. And to go from seeing them, being born and then seeing them 6 to 8 weeks down the road, that was pretty cool. I don't feel like you see that all that often, because sometimes the puppies go to their new owners, to their new states, cities, towns, whatever. Mm-hmm. So you don't really get to see the outcome, I guess, if you will. So to see them come back and to see them all happy and just super cuddly and fluffy, it was, it made it worth.
It's a very rewarding experience.
Rewarding. One of the best parts of being in this field is being able to see that. It was really fun. What about you?
I actually have two. I really cannot choose from. One of them has a sad start. Well, they both kind of have sad starts, but the happy ending is what makes them my favorite. So we had this little, was it like a little Shih Tzu puppy maybe? I don't know. It was tiny, but it was very malnourished, but it was found very sickly, and we thought it had a liver shunt at first. A rescue group had brought it in, and we got to look into some blood work, and I don't really remember what happened, but it ended up not having liver shunt, and it was fixable. It would just need some extra care. Mm-hmm. And so the lady that brought it in with the rescue group was like, okay, I'll take care of it, and I'll get it to health and everything. And the second they brought the dog in, though, everybody's like, oh my God, they just need to put it down. Like, that's just terrible. It's so sick. And I was like, are you guys freaking kidding me? Have you lost your noodles? Because it's a puppy. Yeah. And they're like, Megan, you haven't been in the field. I mean, I had been in maybe a month or two. They're like, you haven't been in the field long enough to understand what we're saying. I'm like, I totally get that. I really do. But I don't know when along this journey you forgot what you signed on to do, because you signed on to fight for that dog, to fight to help that dog. And they're like, oh my God, fine, we'll look at the dog. Like, thank you. So we look at the dog and we find out it's not like as unfortunate as it looks. Like, we can save it. So we did. And a few weeks later, it comes back and it's like happy and bouncing around the room. And everybody's like, look, this is that little dog that we didn't think would make it. I was like, you mean the one you didn't really want to help? And they're like, and she looked at me like ignoring me. It was like radio silence. And I'm like, throwing that out there. I'm like, I told you not to give up on this dog. Like, it was a baby. You should never stop.
No.
Like, it had potential. And because you didn't stop, you remembered why you loved what you did and why you signed on to do this. You saved that dog.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
And in that moment, it was like, you know, we really can make a difference in lives. Like, we could save lives. That was when it kind of hit me. Because like I said, I was still very, very, very new and hadn't seen half of the stuff that I have by now. So, you know. But then my second favorite one was right as I was about to leave this clinic. We had this little Dachshund come in. It was really sad because it somehow ended up being a chew toy of a Great Dane.
Oh.
And it had like massive brain damage and all kind of stuff. But we would actually do physical therapy on this dog every hour or 2 hours. I don't really remember. But like, we would force his little arms and legs to like matchstick, kind of giving that regular form of movement. And then we would massage the little muscles. And we eventually moved him to like pool therapy. And we got like a little kiddie pool from like little plastic ones from Walmart or the dollar store, and we filled it up with a little bit of water, and we were trying to get him to walk a little bit more in there, and he started doing really good with it. Like, he would try to like hold himself up more, and it was mainly like with his stability, because you know, like the water kind of throws you off. So it really helped his stability, and it really changed everything. And a girl that started there ended up like taking him home to do more pool therapy in like a bigger pool, because she had worked with rehab before. And this opened my mind to the whole world of animal rehab, and I was like, this is a beautiful thing. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And I've actually seen on Instagram now where this same dog, she's fostering him until she can find him a new home because the owner surrendered him. And he's like running and playing, and he's like playing with other dogs. Like, he doesn't have any kind of like residual fears, and it's just so amazing because nobody thought that dog would walk again.
Yeah. Like,
without extensive care and therapy. And we gave him the best that we could, and we did everything we knew to do, and he survived, and he's thriving.
That's awesome.
Those are the two stories that's like, no, even on your worst days, you know that you can and you have made a difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why it was really hard for me to pick between those two. Because like, those are the two that stand out to me the most. Everything else was like routine stuff.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of moments that I've had that I'm like, oh, those are really cool. But yeah, it's kind of hard to pick between them. I understand that.
And I got to stand in on a surgery at another hospital I worked at, because this doctor had actually gone to England to get his degree. And so he was not only a doctor of veterinary medicine, but he was a surgeon too. Wow. And I was like, because I remember everybody had BVM after their name, and his was like DVMS or BSVM, and I'm like, I finally looked. He was the owner of the place too. And I finally looked at him one day, and I'm like, I got a question. And he goes, what? I said, why does your name have all kind of different letters after it than everybody else's? Like, what makes you so different? And he just looked at me for a second, and I was like, no disrespect, just curiosity. And he was like, I went to school in England. Like, I'm a surgeon. Because we had a dog there that needed orthopedic help. And I said, well, we got to send it out. And he goes, no, I can fix the broken leg. Like, I'm a surgeon.
Wow.
And I was like, so that's why you got all those weird initials, man.
Is that like only in England?
I'm not sure.
Huh.
But it was really, that's the only time I've ever seen it. It was like BSVM or something. I don't know. I kept trying to put it together, and I'm like, bachelor's of science. No, that can't be it, because you got to have a bachelor's to get to vet school.
Right.
So I finally just one day I was like, you know what? I don't really have a filter. I'm just going to ask.
That would be me.
Yeah. I think those are the ones that survive better in the field.
Yeah. Definitely. You got to be strong for sure.
So, like, I've seen a lot and learned a lot just since my short time in the field. And, like, just stating the obvious, animals are smart and amazing and funny. Yeah. Like, growing up, I was always a straight dog person. Like, if they were my favorite. If I had to pick, it was going to be a dog. But I have a soft spot for all types of animals.
Yeah.
And, you know, I didn't really think much about cats. But, lately, so the clinic, I had several clinics that I worked at that had, like, clinic cats. Like, this clinic has 4.
That's a lot of cats.
Yeah, my running joke when clients ask is like, oh, it's their clinic, they just let us work here.
I mean, that's cats in general.
Yeah. And normally, like, I've always heard they're, like, very fickle, one-person animals, and it's, to an extent, it's true. But I've seen some pretty stereotypical things that these cats have just broken. Like, I was checking out a customer one day, and one of our cats just jumps up into my lap, the desk, looks at me, looks at the customer, and then, like, jumps onto my chest and is just, like, cuddling me. And I'm like, okay.
Oh my gosh.
What happened to you? Like, you don't speak to me. But then there's another one who's like, she's like the welcoming wagon. She always sits out there, and everybody loves her. Everybody knows her. Like, everybody pets her, and, like, dogs will come up and sniff her, and she's like, rah!
Oh.
I'm like, sweetie, you're a declawed cat. That's a big dog. And she's like, I don't care, I'm gonna get him.
Yeah, she's like, I got back claws.
Yeah, she's like, I got this. But she's so funny. Like, I'm starting to think guard cats are a thing. Okay, so there's 2 different instances that these cats have taught me. The same cat that will try to, like, snap back at the dogs, she sits by the front door all day long. And I actually have a picture of her doing this. I might have to post it to the podcast page, but it's hilarious. But she will sit in front of the front door and stare out of it. And when the rush hour comes and people, like, rev their engine or go by really fast, she'll go, "Meow," and, like, yell at them. And I'm like, you tell them, girl. I'm like, and people come in there like, is she going to go out? I was like, no, she's the running guard cat. She's fine. She's not going to leave the door. But it's hilarious because she, like, sits at the door and, like, yells at these people driving by.
Oh my god.
Or, like, she'll be walking around out there and we'll just hear her, like, making all these sounds and, like, talking to herself. And I'm like, what is she doing?
Talking to herself?
She does. Like, there's nobody in the lobby and she's like, rah, rah. I'm like, I'm like, we check her, like, mental health right now? Like, what's going on? Why is she talking to herself?
We need the cat mental health, please.
Yeah. And then we have another, he's kind of a kitten, so he's our psycho kitty, but we love him. But he hasn't really done anything like, actually, he plays fetch. I take that back. Yeah, we've taught him to play fetch.
That's interesting. It took my dogs forever to learn that.
He plays fetch. If you give him a toy, he'll play fetch. If you give him a ball of a piece of paper, he will pat that thing around for hours.
Oh.
But then the one story that I was like, whoa, guard cats are definitely a thing, I think, is we had one of our new cat. They got one, like, right after I started there. And he's pretty big and he's just quiet. And one day, I don't remember why I was back in treatment, because being reception right now, I'm not really back there all that much. But there was some cat they were trying to get out of the kennels to send home, and it was, like, really vicious.
Oh god.
And this cat kept keep trying to jump up on the table and, like, insert himself between the vicious cat and the tech.
Oh gosh, I can see that ending badly.
Yeah, so she was like, it surprised us all when he first did it. So she kind of like grabbed him by the scruff and like sat him down to like get him away really fast. And we're like, all right. And so the cat started giving him trouble again. And the cat's like halfway in now, but still putting up a fight. And the cat gets back up there again. And I'm like, oh my God, what are you, a guard cat?
Oh
And our doctor's like, oh my God, is he getting protective of everybody?
That is so weird. I've never heard of cats doing that.
I know.